everybody, this is Daniel Troutman.
Emmanuel Morel.
The tag team for Bottles of Truth. We're going to get right into it today. Is Jill Stein an anti-vaxxer?
Or is this just a corporate smear campaign?
Find out next. Let's get into the Bottles of Truth. Okay, so if you've been paying attention to the news recently, you have seen that Jill Stein's campaign is climbing up in the polls, getting support from people who have walked away from the Bernie Sanders campaign, people who don't want to continue to support one of the big two candidates. But with that being said, she is starting to get some attacks coming to her campaign, specifically on if she is against vaccinations. What have you seen coming from this?
Well, everything that we predicted was going to happen, right? When you go against the system protects itself. And by design, the system doesn't have any interest in anyone talking this single-payer nonsense garbage. What they want is for her to be able to dictate whatever prices and maintain whatever price controls as they want on their really crappy products, and make sure that you have to purchase it using your health insurance that's mandated to you under Obamacare. And she wants to fight against that system. She wants to implement things like single-payer healthcare insurance. And that goes against the system. So the first thing that they want to do, the pharmaceutical companies want to attack her and make sure that they tear her down in order to instill in the public's mind distrust over her medical acumen, which is ironic that she's a freaking doctor.
Yeah. If you don't know exactly what we're talking about, what happened is Jill Stein did an interview with the Washington Post, and they asked her about vaccinations. And now keep in mind, Jill Stein graduated from Harvard Medical School, 25 years of medical practitioner work. She was an instructor when it comes to medicine. So she's got her experience. And they asked her about vaccinations, and what she said, and we're going to put a link in the comments where you can see exactly the story from the Washington Post of what she said. She said that she supports vaccinations. She's not against them at all, but she said she understands the concerns of those who feel that the regulating body, when it comes to vaccinations, may be in the pockets of corporations, the FDA, Monsanto, and that is what caused the stir, because she didn't answer it in a way that people thought was clear enough, but she was also speaking to some of the concerns people had. Now, just to be on the flip side of it, Washington Post did also say in the next paragraph, they said most of the people on the vaccination review board that Jill Stein was talking about are actually from the academia. They're not from the corporations. But with that being said, that's what she's being attacked about. Do you think this attack is fair?
I don't think that the attack is fair at all. And actually, I want you to look at the quote from Jill Stein right here.
Jill Stein says, and I quote, "I think there's no question that vaccinations have been absolutely critical in ridding us of the scourge of many diseases, smallpox, polio, etc. So vaccinations are an invaluable medication. Like any medication, they also should be, what shall we say, approved by a regulatory board that people can trust. And I think right now that is the problem."
So what she's talking about is the revolving door between the physicians, the pharmaceutical companies, and academia itself. And the way that it works is pharmaceutical companies, the same way that they bribe politicians and the same way they bribe the media, court these people, and they get them in, they sit them down in a room, they take them to really nice dinners, etc. And this, of course, is seen in the interviews that are conducted by Ben Swan, who's one of the most amazing reporters out there actually doing his job. But they court these physicians, and then they introduce these pharmaceutical products to them in conversation. And in doing so, they're able to, in a top-down approach, spread the necessary propaganda to proliferate throughout the entire academia. And so that's how we're still ending up with products entering the market, and people wonder, how did this stuff get on the market get from approval from the FDA? Because these academics approve these drugs.
When I'm looking at vaccinations, I find that it's not fair to critique her and say that she's anti-vax. This woman has over 25 years of experience. That's not what she said. Now, is her language such that the Green Party is kind of playing a little too close to people who are anti-vax? Maybe. And I think there's nuance here. This is one thing we always talk about. Nuance is key. You can question the role of big pharmaceutical corporations, of academics and doctors, when it comes to the medicine process, from when it's developed to when we take it. But question the validity of vaccines themselves, that's a different thing. I don't question whether these vaccines to cure things like polio are beneficial, and I don't think Jill Stein is either. But I do think that we can question, as I think she was trying to do, to say just how involved are these corporations in these decisions, And is it too much? And I think that's where the smear is happening. It's almost a diversionary tactic to get us focused on, oh, she's anti-vax. No, but are these corporations too wedded together such that we can't really trust them? I think that is the case. And I think that's the same type of anti-establishment sentiment we're seeing from Trump supporters, we're seeing from Bernie supporters, we're seeing from Gary Johnson supporters, and Jill Stein supporters. It is this idea that we are tired of these people with this power on the high hill who we can't trust and who are doing things to our detriment so that it's for the benefit of their pockets.
Yeah, if you have any kind of a big corporation which has the power to regulate itself, then you have an issue, right?
Yes.
And that's the problem with Pharma and the FDA. To say it more concisely, Pharma right now is in a position, it's in a constant position because the people that are in the FDA are either academics who they've already swooned over, and those people are now the regulators for these policies. So Pharma can go to them and say, hey, we want to have a particular set of medications expedited through the process. Or there is another set of medications that are up for review that we would kind of want you to look at a little bit more stringently, right? For instance, a competitor. If a competitor has a new compound
or a
medication
newcomer in the market,
treatment, or a newcomer in the market, like that is seen as a potential threat to the existing apparatus of big pharma. And so they will probably not want that to exist. So when we're talking about corporate collusion with government, those are the consequences of it. And she rightfully so is breaking it up because it can be detrimental to the public health as a whole.
Hope you enjoyed our dose of bothersome truth. We are constantly prescribing the medicine of truth. If you have any suggestions or would like to have your truth explored on the show, email us at bothersometruth@gmail.com. The best way to get your next dose is to subscribe, share our truth with your friends and family, and we can save the world together.